Hola clase, ¿cómo están? Excelente! And welcome to yet another Friday on Learning with Senor Cow Cow. I'm joining you today with my brand new esports jersey. They just came in and they're awesome. Okay, so let's get started with our warm up. Now, the students in class today are going to be taking their test, and everyone else, we're just going to focus on what we were looking at yesterday, all right? Which is the three irregulars in the preterite tense. Forgive me, the imperfect tense. All right, so let's start by using those. So say the following using ir, ser, or ver in the preterite tense or the imperfect tense. Remember, the time span is what gives it away. Is it a specific time with a definite start and end or not? Okay, so that will let you know whether to use preterite or imperfect. Now, just to throw it up, these are the irregulars, ir, ser, and ver in the preterite, ir, ser, and ver in the imperfect. Okay, if you need to, you can screenshot this, write it down. That is what we're going to be using for right now. Okay, all right, clase, por favor, saquen papel y practiquen. Pause the video now. All right, first one, I went to Publix yesterday. This one is preterite. Fui a Publix ayer. I always used to go to Publix. Yo, if you want to say it. Siempre iba a Publix. As a kid, she was short. De niña, ella era baja. We're describing what she used to look like. She was a teacher last year. Ella fue maestra el año pasado. They saw a butterfly last week. Vieron una mariposa la semana pasada. And they would see butterflies every day. Ellos veían las mariposas todos los días. Okay, and again, what really makes the difference here is anytime, I'm going to turn these green, anytime that it was a set time, yesterday, last year, and last week, those are preterite. Okay, that is a closed period of time. Fui ayer. I went yesterday. This happened once. Ella fue maestra el año pasado. Last year, very set time period. La semana pasada, last week, very closed time. 7 days. We know exactly when it started and stopped without any further information. Now these use words like, I'll turn these orange, um, always, used to, those are very imperfect. De niña, as a child, is a very imperfect thing to say. And todos los días, every day, is still a very general time. We don't know if it was 2 days, we don't know how many. So there you go. Okay. I went one time versus I used to go. As a kid, de niña, just very general. Fue maestra el año pasado, last year for certain. And then la semana pasada, last week, is very set. Todos los días is very non-specific. We have no idea how many days that was. Okay. So, quickly, just to review preterite and imperfect. Preterite, as you know, happened one time, and it happened within a closed period of time. As I was explaining yesterday in class and on the video, if you say yesterday, well, sun up, sun down, 24 hours. That is a closed, contained time. If you say last year, January, December, it's all contained. A lot of little things happen throughout the year. If you say something like, as a kid, that's very general. As a kid, I used to go to the beach with my family, and I would eat Cocoa Puffs all the time. Very general. There's nothing specific about that. There's no start and end to saying back when I was a kid. Or also saying something like, "Oh yeah, we always used to run together. Every day we studied." Those things are very general. Every day, when is the start and stop? I don't know because you haven't told me. As a kid, it's all over the place. Okay, so that's that. Now, let's have a look here. One second. Okay, now again, I want to put this back on the screen. This was our ir, ser, and ver. So again, we just had a test over this. Ir, ser, and ver. You have fui, fuiste, fue for ir and for ser. I went to the school. Fui a la escuela. I was a student. Fui estudiante in Evans. Ver, vi. I saw a dog. Vi un perro. And we're done. Okay? Now, these, like I was saying, for imperfect in the entire Spanish language, only 1, 2, 3 verbs are irregular. So if you want to say, I used to go to the beach, yo iba a la playa. Oh, he was a short kid. Era bajo de niño. And let's say I used to watch Nickelodeon. Yo veía Nickelodeon. Okay, I used to. So these things mean was, used to, things like that. Okay, now, so that is that. So expect these on the next test. Okay, especially those. But you should always know these as well. All right, I might put them all in there. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Okay, now here is a little PowerPoint I made. Now some of this, of course, is better to do in class because it's actually interactive. But here we go. This is a simple finish the sentence activity. So what I want you to do is let's focus on the imperfect. Let's do iba, era, veía. Okay, and their respective conjugations. Just create a sentence. I do want you to pause the video, take a moment, let's just write 5 sentences, and tell me about what these people used to do using these 3 verbs. Okay, so try it on your own, and then we'll go over them. Pause the video now. All right, so number 1, you could have said something like, Yo iba a la playa con mi familia todos los años. I used to go to the beach with my family every year. Okay, now if that's not how you did it, go ahead and pause the video and fix them. All right, mis amigos y yo, my sentence is going to be éramos atléticos. My friends and I were athletic kids. Número 3. Los estudiantes veían Bob Esponja. The students used to watch SpongeBob. Tú ibas a la escuela todos. ¿Cómo se mucho? ¿Tú ibas a la escuela mucho? Did you used to go to the school a lot? And Señor Cowart era artístico. Señor Cowart was artistic as a little boy, which I was. You could just describe anything. Let's say, oh, what color was the house? La casa era roja. The house was red. There's nothing sudden about the house being red. You're simply describing it. La casa era roja. Okay? Now I'm going to move on to what is going to be the big part of your next test. So this is back to preterite here. These are orthographic changes in the preterite tense, meaning we change the way that things are spelled and written. All right, so basically there are three things here, and all of this is review. Every bit of this is a review from last year. Kargar sar, stem changing verbs, and yo yeron. All right, first one, kargar sar, and I will post these notes on Google Classroom. If a verb ends with the letters kar, gar, or sar, you must change the spelling for the yo conjugation only in the preterite tense. And I'll show you why. Okay, watch this. So here is, okay, these are your AR verb endings for the preterite tense. So if you have the word tokar, let me write this with the brush. Tokar is an AR verb. Most of these are fine. Tocamos, no problem. Or they played. Tocaron la guitarra, no problem. All of that's fine. But the problem is, if you say T-O-C-E like that, that would be pronounced tose, and that's a problem because tocar has always got to go k. It's got to make that sound. Tokar. Because someone needs to recognize that that's what it came from. That's what it started as. So if you say tose, that does no longer sound like tokar. So what you do is instead you change the way it's written, so you make it a Q-U-E. Now it says toke, and it once again goes k. Tokar, toke. Okay? Now let me show you why we do it with the others. So that takes care of why we do kar. Another one is like with jugar. So jugamos is fine, jugaste, everybody's fine. But if you were to type, if you were to say or write this like that, jugar always has to go g. Jugar, g, g, g. This unfortunately would be pronounced juhe. And juhe, someone's not going to know what you're saying. Yo juhe? No. So what you do is you add this. So now it says jugué. Yo jugué al fútbol ayer. And finally, for just whatever reason, like in the word empezar, you never say a CE in this way. So you say, oh, a ZE. So instead of this, empecé, you say empecé with a C. So it goes empezar, empecé. And there you go. That's the logic behind it. All right, so back to the lesson. I have a text. Okay. If a verb ends, or I just did that. Okay, so here's what we have. Kar turns to ke. Gar turns to ge. And sar turns to se. And here's one all conjugated out. As you can see, everybody's normal except for jugué. Other examples, tocar, toqué, pagar, pagué, empezar, empecé. Here are some verbs that do this. Buscar, to look for. Sacar, to take out. Tocar, to play an instrument. Practicar, to practice. Explicar, to explain. All of these would have this yo to k stem change. Jugar, to play sports and games. Llegar, to arrive. Pagar, to pay. Castigar, to punish. Fregar, to scrub or wash. These would all go jugué, llegué, pagué. And then the sar verbs. Comenzar or empezar, to begin. Abrazar, to hug. Cazar, to hunt. Organizar, to organize. And then lanzar, to throw or launch or pitch. Those would all go se with a CE. Abracé, casé, organicé. Just for yo. Okay? So, see if you can spell these correctly. Go ahead and pause the video here. See if you can get these exactly right. Yo toqué, tú tocaste, ellos tocaron. So as you can see, everything's normal except for yo. Okay, so let's do this. On each one of these sections, and this is going to kind of be your practice for today. So really, after we finish with this, you'll be done with your lesson for today. Because your classmates taking the test are not going to get, probably they're not going to finish this anyway. So, all right, so using one of these, just make your own sentence. Make it for yo. Okay, take a moment, pause the video, take a moment. Yo, make it a full sentence. All right, you could say, yo saqué mi libro, toqué mi guitarra, practiqué fútbol, fregué los platos, castigué a mi amigo, pagué el dinero, llegué a la escuela a las 7, abracé a mi mamá, casé un ciervo. Ciervo. I think that's a deer. Lanzar. Lancé la pelota. I threw the ball. Now I'm going to look that up. Hold on. Ciervo. Ciervo. Let's see if I'm right. Yep, ciervo is a deer. Yes. All right. Now, stem changing verbs. These work a little bit differently in Spanish, or in the past tense, I should say. All right, for Spanish 3, you need to know the three onlys. Number 1, only the third person singular and plural. Number 2, only IR verbs. And number 3, only O to U and E to I. Okay? Some verbs change their stem in the present tense, but not in the preterite tense. For example, the word pensar. Pienso, piensas, piensa. Pensamos, pensáis, piensan. And the preterite is completely regular. Pensé, pensaste, pensó. Same thing with jugar. Jugar in the preterite is completely normal, except for the O spelling. These verbs do change their stem in the past tense, and I've really cut this list down to 3. We have, these are E to I, pedir, to order or ask for, preferir, to prefer, and dormir, to sleep, is O to U. Okay? With these, only the bottom 2 conjugations change. And that's what I was referring to when we said third person singular and plural. Okay, so it goes like this. Serví, serviste, sirvió. Servimos, servistes, sirvieron. And here's morir, to die. Morí, moriste, murió. Morimos, moristes, murieron. All right, so everything is normal except for the bottom 2. So instead of the boot, we have the boot print. It's in the past tense because the boot has moved on, the boot print. Here is a stem changing verb in the present and the preterite tense. So look how the difference is. We have the boot and the boot print. Okay, perfect side by side. All right. So using those 3 verbs, the ones that I gave you right here, pedir, preferir, dormir, here are some for you to practice with, okay? Pause the video now. All right, he ordered the chicken. Él pidió el pollo. They slept yesterday. Ellos durmieron ayer. We preferred to read. Nosotros preferimos leer. Okay, now just like the last section, make your own sentence now. Okay, so You could have said something like, Mi amigo pidió una hamburguesa. Mi mamá prefirió leer. And ellos durmieron en mi casa. Okay, and the last concept we're going to look at is what I call yo yaron. If the infinitive has two vowels in a row at the end, such as leer, to read, or oír, to hear, you need to change the spelling for the third person singular and plural conjugations, just like with the stem changing verbs. The bottom two, everybody's normal, and then you get to the bottom two. Also notice the accent marks here. So, for example, with leer, we have leí, leíste, leyó, leímos, leístes, leyeron. So again, to show you, um, so here, let's just draw it. So we have leer. If you said like this, take off the er, put ieron. The problem is we now have three vowels in a row, and that sounds like more like leyeron. Okay, so instead of having that weak three vowels, we say leyeron, leyeron, and that props it up and it makes it much stronger. Okay, that's why we do that with these. Also with the accent marks, again, with too many vowels, it just starts going ah, and you need something to hold it together. Okay, so one more time, look at them. Leí, leíste, leyó, leímos, leístes, leyeron. This is to support the structure of the word so it doesn't look like leyó, leyeron, etc. Okay, and again, we did this before. Remember, estoy leyendo, trayendo, for I am reading. Okay, here are some verbs. I want you to know these verbs, so write them down if you need to. To conclude, concluir. Concluyó, concluyeron are the bottom two conjugations. To destroy, destruir. Destruyó, destruyeron. To believe, creer. Creyó, creyeron. To read, leer. Leyó, leyeron. And to hear, oír, oyó, oyeron. Okay? All right, so here are, actually, some of these are not, well, just so you know, to destroy is, wait, what, isn't that one that we said? Hold on, it is. So to construct is construir, just so you know. So don't worry so much about that aspect. All right, so here we go. All right, give these a try. It's just four. Pause the video now. Okay, she read the book yesterday. Ella leyó el libro ayer. I read the novel last night. Yo leí la novela anoche. They destroyed the house. Ellos destruyeron la casa, and we constructed the house. Construimos la casa. Okay? So here are these. Again, make your own sentence. Okay, so you could have said, los estudiantes destruyeron la casa. Mi amigo creyó la leyenda. He believed the legend. Mi mamá leyó la novela. Los chicos oyeron el ruido. Nosotros concluimos que la escuela es importante, and so on. Okay, now the last thing on our list is this. Averiguar, to discover or figure out. Averiguar always has to make the sound gua. Averiguar. If you write yo like this, it goes averigue. Okay? So to keep the gua sound, you write it like this. Yo averigüe. Averigüe. This is a very rarely seen thing. I can tell you from many years of Spanish, it is not common. It's not unheard of. You will see it, but not every day. The two dots over the U is probably the most rare thing that you'll see. And now, spelled like I've spelled it there on the right, it is pronounced averigüe. Averiguar, yo averigüe. Some other words that use the U with the dots is el pingüino, bilingüe, vergüenza. So it makes it go gua. And this instrument down at the bottom, the one that goes, that is a guiro. Okay? All right. And again, in class, if we have time, which I seriously doubt because of the test, I'll be calling on people asking questions, that sort of thing. What I do want to tell you is that on Wednesday of next week, you will have another test. It's going to cover cargar sar, stem changing verbs, and yo yaron. Okay? And all the rules, everything I went over here, you will need to know. It's important. All right? And yet again, I'm going to remind you this is practice from Spanish 2. It's review. Also, in addition to this, like I said, I want you to know these. Ir, ser, ver. Okay? So be ready to use those, mainly in the imperfect, maybe some preterite. Okay? Just to make sure you're retaining this. All right, so let me just double check. Okay, so like I said, study, 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 y'all. And that way there'll be no panic. You'll be fine. And we'll have the test Wednesday and life will go on. All right, I will talk to you soon. Adios. Have a wonderful weekend.